Hi guys, this is Brutality from Brutality for War Chief. I'm going to do part 2 of the Warcraft Prequel Novel Durotan overview. Last time I stopped at where the volcano erupted, where the Great Father Mountain erupted, and I'm just going to pick up from there. So what happens next is the mountain erupts and they're freaking out. They're like, well, why in the heck is the mountain erupting? So Durotan, being the chieftain now, tells everyone that they need to leave. So they're like basically really scattered to try to get all their stuff together and get everyone out safely. They can't take everything because the huts and the houses and tents and stuff are already burning down. So what they do is they get everything they can, and at this point, like, Draka is really helpful, and Durotan's kind of like seeing how great she is, and it's really interesting because he, like, I guess a thought crosses his mind, and he's like, because Orgrim told him earlier, he's like, you would be so lucky to have her as your mate, and a thought crosses his mind, and he's like, Orgrim was right. Like, I would be so lucky to have her as my mate. And so, they end up leaving. They find a different area with the help of Draka. And, Draka comes in later, and they lost a family. And that was really sad. Draka felt really bad, and Durotan tells her, like, it wasn't your fault, pretty much. What happens then is they're struggling to find food and water and all that stuff, and Drekthar, the shaman, is kind of like trying to communicate with the spirits and figure out what's going on, and he's having a lot of trouble, I guess, figuring out what's happening, and because the spirits are having trouble communicating with him, and so he gets like a vision, I guess, or he talks to the spirits, and they say, well, look for a sign. You're gonna look for a red bird. I believe it was like a cardinal. And so they're all watching for this bird every single day. They need water. They don't have any water, or they're looking for food, anything to hunt or eat. So what happens is a lot of the kids are watching because Durotan kind of made up a game out of it so the kids would look. And finally, one of the little kids sees the bird and tells everyone, and they go and follow the bird, and she remembers where the bird landed. I believe Durotan was on a hunt at that time. So she goes and shows them, and they look at it. It's just a rock in the middle of a whole bunch of dirt. And they're kind of like, is this like a trick? Are the spirits just like messing with us, or what's going on? And so Durotan's asking Drekthar, and Drektar's like, well, I don't know. And so they're all trying to move this giant, massive boulder because they think that there could be water underneath it. And Drekthar just he's like, well, move out of the way. I'll move it with my staff. And Drektar's really old and he's blind. So he's already, like, he's having a lot of trouble, or you would think he'd have a lot of trouble with it. Durotan, like, is bracing himself to see, like, the staff snap in half. And he ends up moving the rock, and then water comes up from the ground. It's like a spring, an underground spring, so they have water, which is good, and it sustains them for a while. And then right after that moment, Durotan tells Draka that he would be honored to have her as his mate. So Draka and Durotan get married that night, and they make a little tent for them, and they have their little tent, and it's pretty cute. So yeah, they get married, and then after they get married, let's see, I'm going from memory. I finished the book like a week ago, and I didn't take any more notes because I read the rest on my phone, but I locked it in pretty good, I think. After that, I believe is when Gul'dan comes again. And what happens this time is Gul'dan's like, hey, like, your father didn't, like, trust me, he didn't believe in me, so what I'm telling you is that, you're a younger generation, maybe you'll trust me, like, you should, because I'm trying to offer you all this stuff, he does the same pitch as before, what he did with Garrod, and so Durotan's like, okay, he's, like, thinking about it, Garrona's there, and then it's very interesting because Garrona looks at Draka, and Draka had previously had communication with the Draenei when she was exiled out of the Frostwolf clan when she was younger because she was so weak. And what happened was Garrona saw a crystal hanging around Draka's neck, and it was like a Draenei crystal. And Garrona yelled at Draka in the Draenei tongue, so the Draenei language, and sorry, a little. She yelled at her in the Draenei's tongue, and Draka was kind of like, what? And then she responded to her, and then Gul'dan demanded to know what Garrona had said. So Draka said, she replied, she said that my mate is a fool for not believing in you and not following you. And, Gul'dan was like, yeah, I know, like, whatever. So they end up leaving. They say, I can respect your decision, but if you want to come this time, he, like, ends parley, like, without even doing the thing. Like, he doesn't, like, end it honorably. And Gaia's kind of like, whoa, man, like, this is our deal, like, we have to end parley this way. And he's like, no, like, I'm not doing it. So Gul'dan ends parley. No one gets hurt or anything. And the only reason that she's worried about it is because they have to, like, ensure that he knows the Frostwolves won't hurt him. So he's like, no, I don't care, like, whatever. And so he, like, leaves. He's like, like, if you want to come, just make your journey down to the south and we'll be there. And so they leave, and then Durotan goes to Draka and he says, what did Garrona, or what did his slave really say to you? Because Durotan knows Draka very well and knows that she was lying to Gul'dan to protect Garrona. What Garrona had said to Draka what she had said to Draka in the Draenei tongue was, my master is very dangerous. And what Draka had said back to Garrona was, we know. So she's basically, she's saying, like, don't follow him, like, he's a bad guy, she's not gonna end well for anyone. And Draka's saying, yeah, we know, thank you, basically. So, Durotan kind of like, well, that's not good. Later, where it gets a little crazy. Later, I believe it was that evening. Oh no, they go out on a hunt, and then when they come back, Durotan comes back. He's tired. He's exhausted. He's on his wolf. I don't think they found anything, and I believe the snow's starting to fall and stuff. When he gets back, one of the male clan members meets him at the edge of camp, and he's saying, we want to join the Horde, Gul'dan's Horde. And Durotan's like, no, like, you need to respect my decision. I'm trying to take care of you people. You just have to listen to me. And it just so happens that this orc, his daughter was the one who saw the cardinal, so that was kind of interesting. I'm trying to remember what their names are. I'll put their names in there. But, anyways, what happens is that he's saying, no, we want to join Gul'dan's Horde. So this orc challenges Durotan to the Mak'Gora, and Durotan's like, I don't want to do this, like, this is not a good idea, but Durotan has to accept the challenge because what he's doing is challenging his position as chieftain. So Durotan has to. The other guy initiates the Mak'Gora with Durotan, and so they get ready, and Durotan basically beats the crap out of this orc. It's not good, but he doesn't kill him. He leaves him before he dies and says, "We're orcs, we're frost wolves. We shouldn't be killing each other. I'm trying to protect y'all, and you need to see that I just want the best for my clan and the people I love, And so everyone's like, yeah. And this orc, that he's like, his jaw's broken, like he looks bad. He looks like he can die. So they take him back to the tent. They get him all fixed up, and the shamans tend to Durotan's wounds, which really weren't that bad, especially in comparison to the other orc. And what happened from there is Durotan goes to sleep. They give him some of the herbs, and he drinks it, and he starts going to sleep, very tired. And then all of a sudden he's abruptly awoken, and I believe it's Orgrim that wakes him. He's like, "Hey, you have to come outside right now." And overnight, that orc and his whole family left to go join Gul'dan's horde. Not only that, but like 2 or 3 other adult orcs went with them. So Durotan's like, what the heck? Like, winter is upon them. Like, winter has come. Old Game of Thrones reference. Winter's coming, but really, winter has come. Like, there's snow on the ground. So they're like, well, crap. Like, and Durotan's like, if it were just the adults, like, I would just let them, they made their choice. But it's not just, there's children there. Or, I believe, 3 children. So Durotan's like, this isn't gonna work. We need to go get them. So he gets on a wolf. He assembles people. They go, or he gets on his wolf. They assemble everyone, or whoever's going with them. And Draka, of course, is like, I'm going. Like, you can't tell me not to go. So it's Draka, Gaia, Orgrim, 2 other orcs, and I want to say Drekthar, but I don't remember for sure. Anyway, they go and they start riding, and they just come upon this awful carnage, just blood everywhere, carcasses just skinned, disemboweled. It's really bad, and Durotan's freaking out because he thinks it's going to be the children. The wolves of those orcs are like slaughtered. Durotan turns over one of the orcs, and it's the orc that had challenged him to the Mak'Gora. And he was sad for that, but at the same time he was happy that the children weren't killed yet, possibly, in theory. So they're like, okay. The wolves let out a cry because their brothers and sisters were dead. And then Durotan, Draka, they don't even care at this point. They're just so upset that this had happened. So they go and they ride. The wolves pick up the scent and they ride to the camp. And they realize at this point that it's Red Walkers, the same people who had killed Garod. So they ride to this camp and they see the Red Walkers, and they just start killing the Red Walkers. And they kill all of them. They get the children. They go back. They get the orc's wife that had challenged Durotan. And they go back. And once they get back, everything's all okay. I believe this is the next part. I could have had a little timing mixed up, but they come back. It's still hard to get food and everything, and it's really scarce. But all of a sudden, the ground just opens up. There's like a massive earthquake, and the wolves just fall in, the frost wolves fall in, a lot of them do, and Durotan's like, what the heck, like what's going on? And so he's trying to save them, and he can't save a lot of them, and so they have to move further out to the edge of their camp, and it's just horrible. So they're really just trying to figure out what's going on. Drekthar tries to communicate again with the elements, and the elements explain that they're very sick, and that the earth is hungry. So the spirit of the earth is not doing too good at this point. Fire freaked out, then the earth freaked out, so it's just all kind of going south for them. So the next thing that happens is they decide to go to the throne of the spirits, or the seat of the spirits. It's at the very north part of the frosty. I don't know what I'm saying right now, but it's the northern point of Draenor, the furthest north you can go. So they set out, and they're going up and up and up, and then they finally come to a place where they realize that there's gonna have to be a group split off. So what happens is Durotan assembles another party. He gets his usual folks. He wants to take Orgrim, Gaia, I believe, Drekthar, 2 other orcs, and then he tells Draka, you need to stay. But then he tells Orgrim, you need to stay also. So Orgrim and Draka stay. He tells them this. He tells Orgrim, if I don't return in 3 days' time, like you're the chieftain, because I'll probably be dead if that happens. So off they go, and the rest of the people, the orcs are there. So off they go to the seat of the spirits up at the north point of Draenor, and they're running on their wolves, and finally when they get there, Durotan's asking, like, how are we gonna know? Drekthar like, well, we'll just know, they'll tell us. So finally they get to this peak, this mountain peak, and they're like, well, there's nothing, there's just ocean. And Drekthar's like, he's blind. He goes to the very end of this cliff and points out in the water to the only large glacier that's there. He's like, that's it. And they're like, well, Drekthar, there's no steps to get to it. It's across the water. How are we going to get there? And right as they start saying this, Drekthar looks disappointed. He starts talking to the elements, and these glaciers move. These little icebergs move so that there's a pathway to this big glacier. So they go down, they leave their wolves. The wolves aren't having it. They're kind of freaking out, and they were doing the same thing whenever the big mouth in the earth opened up and swallowed up some of the frost wolves. And so they finally, I'm just making sure my thing's plugged in so it doesn't die on me. So they finally make it across, and they're walking up, and then they realize, they get inside, it's beautiful. It's like nothing they've ever seen before. It's incredible. And then some red walkers pop up, and they're like, oh my god, what the heck is happening? So they kill these red walkers in this, like, it's basically like a holy place. And so there's blood all over the floor. It's like tainted. And so Gaia and Drekthar are the only 2 that can really go and talk to the spirits. So they go to this special place while Durotan and the other 2 orcs clean up and get rid of the bodies. Durotan's so fed up at this point that he's just like this is like, these creatures are disgusting. I dislike them so much. he just throws their bodies in the water, but he has to clean out the place very specifically. He gets, the bloodied snow out, and meanwhile, Gaia and Drekthar are talking to the spirits, and the spirits accept them into their area. It's beautiful. There's grass. There's a beautiful pond-like thing. There's like fire, like a nice fire. There's food, and the spirits invite them to eat and take as much food as they needed and clean water as they needed until they're full, so that they can talk to the spirits better. And they do. They talk to the spirits, and what they hear is that it's too late. The spirits here are not well, and they won't ever be again. The world is dead. It's dying. There's spirits everywhere else. There's other spirits, it's the same spirits, but in different places, such as Azeroth. That's what I'm filling in the blanks. But and I guess in that context, this world is gone. Like, there's no hope for it, and so it's very unfortunate, sad. And the spirits speak through Drekthar, so Drekthar's mouth is like the spirits talking, and Gaia's like, what the heck? And so she doesn't know if Drekthar heard it, and he comes out of it finally, and she asked, and he heard everything, and they were like, well, this is crazy. So meanwhile, over back to Durotan and the other orcs are walking around, and they see the little camp area that the Red Walkers were in. There were a lot of them. He realizes there were a lot of them, but only like 6 were there. So he's thinking about it, and then he realizes it was a distraction. They were there to know whenever they got there, so that the rest of them could attack the Frost Wolves, the other camp with the Frost Wolves and Draka and Orgrim. So Durotan's kind of freaking out. He's waiting for them to get done with the spirits. He doesn't know how long it's going to take. And right as they're walking down, Gaia and Drekthar, Durotan grabs them and tells them, So they all go down, and they start going out. And as they are walking across back over the steps, they see these furs laying on the ground, and they realize that it was their wolves, and the Red Walkers had slain their wolves to so that it would slow them down. And one thing that the spirits had told Drekthar is that he would grant them, the Spirit of Life would grant him something important for a certain time, and he didn't know what it was, but he realized that it was making these wolves live, some of them, the ones that are salvageable, so that they can take them back to the camp. And so he breathes life into some of the wolves, but some of them die, and it's really sad. I think Gaia's and Drekthar's, I think Gaia's dies, and it's really sad. So they have to leave Drekthar there because there's not enough wolves to take him back, and it would just slow them down. But they're gonna pick him up later. Just gonna do like a little drive-by and get him, I guess, later. And so they head toward the camp, and at that time, Draka and Orgrim are just now seeing that there's Red Walkers on the horizon. So everyone has to get ready and start pretty much fighting and defending their camp. And Draka is doing like a ranged deal. She has like a shield over her belly. She's doing a ranged deal where she she has like, her archer stuff, and she's shooting all these guys, and it's not going well. There's a lot of Red Walkers. There's a lot of them. So Orgrim gets in a fight with one, and he's just like fighting this one big guy, and Durotan and Gaia, and I think they just left Drekthar. I think Gaia's there. They're all Gaia was there. They're all just pumped. They're trying to get there as fast as they can, and and they finally get there, and some of the Red Walkers are gone, like dead. Some of the Frost Wolves are dead. So they just start doing their best to slay these Red Walkers and defend everyone. And Durotan's freaking out because of Draka and Orgrim's there, and Durotan sees that Orgrim's fighting this big orc, and he says, I shouldn't interrupt him, but like I need to, I should be the one, whatever. So, right as Orgrim is about to hit the killing blow, all of the Red Walkers are pretty much dead. Durotan says, "Stop, Orgrim. We need to talk to him." So he ties him up. All the other Frost Wolves just want to kill him, and he talks to this Red Walker, and he's like, "Well, why are y'all resorting to cannibalism and putting orcs' blood on you? It's horrible, And the Red Walker's giving him a hard time, and Durotan's like, "No, like really, like I need, like why?" And he says, "You would do the same thing." He's like, "What?" And the Red Walker's like, "We're just like you." Durotan's like, "No, you aren't, because we'd never do this." And the Red Walker kind of is like, "Yeah, you want to be on your own and you want to have your own clan. This is what it's going to come to sooner or later. You're either all going to die or you'll start feeding off of each other. Because the world's going to be gone. That's the only way it's going to work." And Durotan realizes that if they stay in Draenor, that's what's going to, they're either just all going to perish, or they're going to resort to killing each other and eating each other alive or dead, or however. But Durotan realizes this: there's nothing in the world left, and it kills him to know that. But he next goes in front of the whole clan and proceeds to tell them that they would be following, or they would be going south to meet with Gul'dan and join the Horde, so that they can go to a better land, and that he respected his father's ideas, and they were of a different time, because now it's necessary to go, and that's the only way that they'll be able to live. And Gaia's especially, she's the one that would be most put off, and she even stood up and said, "My mate is my chieftain, and he was right, but you are my son and you're my chieftain, and I will follow you where you go." And Orgrim, he says the same, and Draka says the same, and they all stand up and they say the same. And so they all go down to join Gul'dan's Horde. That's where it ends. It's pretty crazy. They got Drakthar too. They got him. But it was a really good book. It's crazy. It was a great prequel, because I went into the movie. I finished it like a day before the movie came out, and I was like this. I had read Rise of the Horde with Durotan and Draka, and I loved it. But this also gave me another, more of a sense of what was going on, and what they had been through prior to what we see in the movie. And so it really hit me hard whenever I was watching the movie, because I was like, oh my gosh, things would happen. And I just attribute them both to each other, and it was really crazy. So it's a great book. If y'all have any questions, you can type them below, and I will do my best to answer them. As I said, I didn't take notes, but I can always look back, because I saved a lot of pages and I screenshotted a lot, because I read half of it, or more than half of it, on my phone. The other half I put in a book, but I got kind of tired of annotating. But I'm always happy to reply to questions if y'all have any. And I will be putting the names of some of the works and stuff in the description. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I hope y'all are doing well. This is Brutality from Brutality for War Chief. Bye!